All right, today we're kicking off a quest, but forget gold and glory. We're after knowledge. We're going to chart a course to master PHP, the language that secretly powers a huge chunk of the web. Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it. How does a website remember you when you log in? Or how does it know what's in your shopping cart when you click buy? That's all happening behind the scenes. It's the website's brain doing all the heavy lifting.
And today, we're going to walk you through the exact path to become the person who builds that brain. So think of yourself as the hero of this story. And this, well, this is your map.
Every great adventure has to start somewhere, right? For us, that means setting up our digital workshop. This is the place where we're going to forge our code.
So what is PHP, really? It's the language the website's brain speaks. It's not the stuff you see on the screen. That's usually HTML and CSS. No, PHP is the logic underneath that makes a site feel alive and interactive.
To get started, you need to make your computer act like a web server. Now, I know that sounds intimidating, but trust me, tools like XAMPP or MAMP make it super easy. They bundle everything you need, the Apache server, the MySQL database, the whole shebang. You just download it, install it, start the services, and boom, you're ready to go. Okay, workshop is ready. Now it's time to learn the fundamental spells, the core syntax and logic that make PHP work. I love this way of thinking about it. You can't write an epic story if you don't know how to form a sentence, right? It's the same thing here. You've got to master the basics, the variables, the loops, the functions, because that's the foundation for everything you'll build later. Feeling a little overwhelmed? Hey, don't be. Here's a plan that totally works. For week 1, just focus on the building blocks, things like variables and data types. In week 2, you'll learn how your code can make decisions using if-else statements and loops. By week 3, you'll be writing functions to reuse code, and in week 4, you'll get your first look at object-oriented programming, or OOP, which is just a fancy way to keep your code nice and organized.
Theory's cool and all, but the real magic, the real fun, happens when you start building things. It's time to take what you've learned and forge something real.
You want to know the absolute best way to make these new skills stick? Build something. Here are 3 perfect starter projects: a dynamic contact form that actually sends an email, a simple login system to understand how sites remember who you are, or even a basic blog where you can practice creating and showing data.
Let's just quickly break down that contact form project. First, you build the form in HTML so people can type into it. Then, when someone hits submit, you use a special PHP variable called $post to grab everything they typed. Now, here comes the most critical part. You have to validate and sanitize that data. You've got to make sure it's safe before you do anything else. Only then can you process it, like sending it off in an email. Sooner or later, your apps are going to need to remember things, like user info or blog posts or items on a to-do list. And for that, we need to learn how to tame the mighty database.
Don't let the word database scare you. It's not some big, scary monster. Honestly, just picture it as a super organized library for all your website's information. And your PHP code? That's the librarian, who knows exactly how to find, store, and retrieve any piece of information instantly. So, what skills does our librarian need? Well, first, they need the key to the library. In PHP, that's something called PDO, which is just a safe, standard way to connect. Second, they need to speak the library's language, which is called SQL. With just a few simple SQL commands, you can create, read, update, and delete anything you want. That's really the heart of any modern web app.
You've learned the spells, you've chained the database. Now it's time to gear up. Let's get you the tools and armor that the pros use every single day. Look, security is not an optional extra. It's like locking the doors to your house. It's absolutely fundamental. You have to defend against common attacks. That means validating all user input to prevent things like cross-site scripting, and using something called prepared statements to stop SQL injection. And here's a golden rule. Never, ever store passwords as plain text. You always hash them.
Why would you build something completely from scratch when you could start with a high-tech suit of power armor? Well, that's exactly what a framework like Laravel is. It gives you all these secure pre-built parts for common tasks, which means you can build powerful apps way faster.
What if you need a specific tool that you don't want to build yourself? Well, you can just ask your magical assistant, Composer, to go get it for you. Composer is a package manager, which means it finds and manages all the little code libraries and tools your project needs to run. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so you've built your awesome application. How do you know it actually works, and that it'll keep working after you make changes? You hire an inspector. PHP Unit is that inspector. It lets you write little automated tests that check your code for you, giving you the confidence that everything is working just right.
You have the skills, you have the tools. The very last step is to join the wider world of developers, get your work out there, and become a part of the community.
Putting your creation out there for everyone to see is called deployment. Big picture? It just means getting a web server, setting it up, uploading your code, and then pointing a domain name to it. That's how your project goes from sitting on your computer to being live on the internet.
And please remember this, you are not alone on this quest. The PHP community is huge and it's incredibly supportive. So dive into forums, join a Discord server, read up on the best practices, and hey, when you feel ready, maybe even contribute to an open source project. That's how you really grow.
So, there you have it. A clear path from being a complete beginner to a capable PHP developer who's ready for a real job. The map is in your hands. The only question left is, what are you going to build first?